Hello and welcome to another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is the mayor of PHNX, occasionally known as Derek Montilla. I'm joined by the one and only Rookie of the Year, Thunderstick Jesse Friedman, my vice mayor.
Wow, Rookie of the Year. Okay.
I mean, is it
I'll
considered
take
that?
that.
I mean, I feel like you consider yourself that. I know your rookie season was more of like 2012, whenever you did that Schulte interview.
Right. Yeah,
That was
2011, I
really when
think
you
that
peaked.
was.
Yeah, ever
Yeah,
since
that
then.
was when I peaked. Yeah, everything is 100% downhill after
Hey,
that
trust
moment.
me, I
But
was
anyway.
I was a model for my dad's hotel at like 8, and everything has been downhill since then for me. So, peak at an early age, but we had a good run. Of course, this show is brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook app. Guys, Diamondbacks had a tough loss last night against the Colorado Rockies, and I know who people want to blame, and here we're here to also blame that person first. But before we get to that, of course, we want to welcome back Carson Kelly's bat. Give it up. Give it up for Carson Kelly's bat. Yes. And I am going to beat my chair with this later, but congrats to Carson Kelly on really, we missed you. We missed your offense. He has hit safely now in 7 of his last 9 games, 3 doubles, 3 home runs, and 8 RBIs. So looking a lot more like the Carson Kelly of old that Jesse once said if he could get back on track would be just a huge lift for this team offensively.
Yeah, and I mean it's been great to see. For a while it felt like Carson Kelly hitting well, at least against lefties, was just sort of a given. And he got that yesterday with Austin Gomber on the mound. Carson, the home run. He also drove in the other run that the Diamondbacks had in the game. The rest of the offense, Derek, was a little bit quiet yesterday. As much as Mark Melancon was ultimately the guy who took the loss in the box score, and I think there's some reason to wonder, about his usage and whatnot moving forward. But the Diamondbacks really need to keep the offense more consistent. I think you could blame that just as much as Melancon for what happened yesterday.
Oh, we're going to totally blame Melancon for what happened yesterday, or at least I am, but we'll get to that, of
At
course.
least you are.
There are guys that are trying to generate that offense that you're talking about on the base path when they don't really have much going on. Josh Rojas had a really fun heads-up play on the base path yesterday of just catching the defense sleeping. And I mean, that's the kind of stuff that someone like Josh Rojas honestly brings to this team. Ro is just a gamer, and he is always looking for opportunities like that to give the Diamondbacks any advantage that he can give them. I wish everybody on the team had that same, like that same baseball acumen, or I don't even know if it's that. I don't know if it's a high baseball IQ. I almost feel like it's just being crafty. It's seeing opportunities and having the I guess the courage to go for them, because that wasn't an easy thing to decide to take off and do on your own in that situation yesterday.
Yeah, that was an awesome play. You're absolutely right. Josh Rojas has kind of developed this reputation as being a guy who plays with a lot of intensity, and I think fans really enjoy that, right? I mean, he's very fun to watch, even if Josh Rojas, isn't always a middle of the order type of a batter. Occasionally will have his miscues defensively, although there have not been that many of them this season. He always brings that intensity that I think people really love to see.
What he does, I think, is even if your team loses, you feel like guys like Josh Rojas gave it every, like, it's the left it all on the field, left it all on the court analogy, right? It's like you feel like someone like that did everything that they could to give their team a chance to win, and that's endearing to you as a fan, even if your team loses. Like, you look at a guy like Josh Rojas and think, dude, that guy gave it his all last night. Even if he goes 0 for 4 or, whatever the situation might be, you see that intensity that you're talking about at all times from him. I have to give credit where credit is due, because someone else showed some intensity yesterday, and that was Dallas Keuchel. I was ready to lead the charge. I was lighting, you don't light pitchforks on fire. You grab a pitchfork, you light a torch. I was ready to go after him with the angry mob after he gave up those 2 early runs. But I mean, what an outing, a hell of an outing after struggling early to come back and go 7 innings and only give up 1 more earned run in that for the rest of the game. I thought it was incredible. I thought, again, he didn't have the best defense behind him like he hasn't had in some of his starts. It's not entirely his fault. Sometimes the defense is not very sharp behind him, but this was a case where I think this is a characteristic of the entire pitching staff at this point. Didn't have his best stuff early, but somehow stuck with it, and ended up having a strong outing despite, that early struggle.
Yeah, it definitely didn't get off to a good start. I mean, I think a lot of people were in a here we go again sort of mindset with Dallas Keuchel, back-to-back doubles to lead off the game. And then Brendan Rodgers, I think, had an RBI single that brought in 2 runs really quickly. But yeah, I mean, he settled down in a big way. I think he threw 25 pitches in the first inning. And then I think he would have thrown about 73 through the rest of the game, through the next 6 innings. So, I mean, that's incredible efficiency from Dallas Keuchel from that point forward. And, you see glimpses of, I'm not going to say that Dallas Keuchel is close to what he was in 2015 when he won the Cy Young Award, but he certainly has a presence on the mound, just the way that he carries himself. Just even seeing him briefly in the clubhouse a little bit over these last couple of weeks, you can tell that the guy really knows what he's doing at this level. And, he's gone through some adversity this season in particular. Some of his pitching arsenal is not working the way that it has in the past, but this start was a huge step forward for him.
Also, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Dallas Keuchel has amazing tattoos. Absolutely
He does.
incredible tattoos.
He does.
I want to touch base with him just so we can exchange tattoo artist information. I'm sure it's somebody from Chicago or somebody I'll never get a chance to go to because they're just, a celebrity artist or something, but great tattoos. Great. Top notch tattoos.
And I will also say that the beard is as advertised. It is as
person?
Great in person as it is on television.
I'm a beard guy, but I know my limits, Jesse. I have tried to grow this thing out, and it is awful. I almost got I don't know if you've ever seen Will Forte with a beard and like the last Man on Earth show. I have a very similar thing going on where once it gets past a certain length, I immediately look homeless. There's nothing I can do about it to not look homeless. And it's not a good look for me as a person. I've tried. I have beard envy of guys like him because holy shit, it's an impressive sight to behold in person. What's not though is watching Mark Melancon pitch in non-save situations. Jesse, I know what you said. We are going to say the offense does deserve some credit for last night's loss, but now we're going to transition to Mark Melancon and just again, I don't know if it's the concept of using him in non-save situations. Brenly brought it up on the broadcast. I don't know if that's a cop-out. I don't know. Does it matter if the Diamondbacks would have been up 4-3? Would that have changed his performance? Would that 9th inning, if we went to an alternate multiverse, would that have changed what Mark Melancon did in the 9th inning? Or would he have let the Rockies tie it up and then we go to extras, or maybe he even blows the save if the Diamondbacks are up by 1 run? But what do we do with Mark Melancon, Jesse? Is there a point where somebody like him doesn't get to do this regardless of performance?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, we've had the conversation before about the whole non-save situation thing, and obviously Bob Brenly knows what he's talking about, right? He's been around this game for a while, and I do think it's totally possible that, some guys could have more success in save situations, but they're just not quite on their game in non-save situations. It's a bit of a weird moment for them. We've looked at the numbers before, Derek. I don't think there's a whole lot of evidence from Mark Melancon's career numbers that, he's phased by non-save situations necessarily. I don't really think that's a fair assessment, but the numbers this season make it pretty clear. I mean, he's been substantially better in save situations than non-save situations. So I don't know if there's really anything to that. I think it could just be a baseball being baseball sort of a thing, but you're certainly not alone in asking the question. And I'm also afraid of what you're about to do with this baseball bat that you're menacingly holding in your hands right now.
I mean, I went back and did the math. The Diamondbacks are actually 500 after Mark Melancon loses. So, and they're on a kind of a bit of a losing streak lately when he loses. So I think they're due. I think today we're going to see the Diamondbacks rebound, but Yeah, I don't know. They're just it comes a point where you see the Diamondbacks have better options that are more consistent with a lower ERA. And of course, I'm talking about Joe Mantiply. I don't know why you're so dedicated to a guy being the closer forever, regardless of performance. I don't know why you feel the need to bring somebody in who has a bad track record of non-save situations when you can bring in. There's so many other options. I know he doesn't have a lot of options, but there are other options, and Mark Melancon just doesn't seem to be the one for this team. Last night, I think the one thing that frustrated me the most about his ninth inning was the Rockies weren't fooled by him. There was no like overpowering. There was very little I was seeing out of him that would be a dominant ninth inning pitcher. The Rockies seem to feel the same way, and like I don't know. I someone tweeted us about the situation with Mark Melancon being kind of like a washed up closer, and that wasn't really necessarily the case. He led the league in saves last year, right? But he was with a very good team, so that's a big part of it. Gabe says Mantiply gave up the home run, so he doesn't get sent to the Yankees at the deadline, which, of course, yeah, you're right. That was a smart move. But
I think David Peralta joked about that recently, about how like he might try to play worse here over the next few weeks so that he can stick around in Arizona. I think Nick Picoro had a pretty good quote from him on that. But yeah, one quick thing before we get back to Melancon, just touching on Joe Mantiply. The man has turned himself into a monster of an asset. I mean, he has a sub-2 ERA and he's under team control. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's at least like 4 more seasons or something like that. So there's a lot of team control remaining with Joe Mantiply. And, the Diamondbacks are not used to having bullpen assets like that. Usually when they have had an effective reliever, which hasn't happened much over the last decade, but when they have, it was usually, a veteran sort of at the end of their career on a short-term contract, which kind of diminished their trade value. Joe Mantiply is not in that situation. I know he's a little bit older than a lot of guys in his position. I think he's 30. But I mean, he really is quite a trade asset. I honestly don't think we have to worry about the Yankees picking up Joe Mantiply, because I think the Diamondbacks would really have to be overwhelmed in order to consider something like that.
You're right about that. Under contract until 2026. So
okay, so it'd be 4 more seasons after
team
this
control
one.
through next year, and then arbitration eligible for the last 3. But yeah, I mean, doesn't make very much for the performance that he's giving this team.
Right.
So
Right.
of course, you actually have lots of information about Joe Mantiply available on gophnx.com. You guys make sure to check out Jesse's articles over there. They are unlocked for you for absolutely free this month. While Jesse is here, while Jesse is showing, he's peacocking a little bit. He's putting those feathers out and he's letting everybody see them. So make sure to check out his articles, whether you're a member or not. And then when you see how wonderful they are, you can't live without them in your life. So go ahead and sign up for a membership. If you haven't done so already, you can get an annual membership, which will get you a free t-shirt like this guy, Cody the Coyote, which you can get over at the PHNXLocker.com. You get a free t-shirt of your choosing if you get that annual membership. If you choose to get a month-to-month membership, you'll get your first month for just 50 cents. Regardless of your membership status, you will get access to our members-only Discord, which is popping. Jesse, I was told that the Coyotes is the only more happening place on Discord than us, which makes me jealous and makes me want to strive to get to number 1, much like Tori Lavello asked Barry Bloom, how can he become his number 1 manager in his book? I want to be the number 1 place on Discord, the PHNX D-back. So join us there. We're having a good time. Also, you'll get members only discounts over at that PHNX Locker for our merchandise. Hope you guys are enjoying all of that. Also, if you're watching us right now on YouTube, please subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Please leave us a review. Come and comment with us. Talk to us, chat with us like Josh Hunt. Thunderstick out here putting up Mantiply numbers on these articles for a Mantiply price. Exactly. It's a value what you're getting right now out of Jesse. And it might not, just like Joe Mantiply, this might not last for long. We'll see what happens. But of course, if you guys are watching us on YouTube, subscribe and sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss whenever we go live. And also, yes, the draft was nuts. So hard to compete, definitely.
Yeah.
Guess what? We're
Yeah.
covering the MLB draft. Spoiler alert, not going to be as crazy as the Coyotes draft because it's MLB and we know what happens. It's baseball. Nobody cares, but we care. We care a lot because the Arizona Diamondbacks have 3 picks very high in the MLB draft. So make sure to join us for our draft. We'll make it exciting. At least you're going to see me drink a whole lot of beer and Jesse's going to have to carry me home, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be Four Peaks. Of course, we're going to be drinking all the Four Peaks beer. So make sure to check out Four Peaks as well. If you're listening to us right now on your favorite audio podcasting app, please subscribe to us. Leave us a 5-star review. Jesse deserves it just for the articles. If not for the show, for the articles. So we thank you guys again for checking us out. Of course, the Coyotes had their draft party yesterday. We were talking about how much fun that is. And, I liked how aggressive they were. I was talking about this on the Bets podcast just before we went on the air. And I liked that they traded up for the 11th pick. I liked that they seemed to have a plan. They did move around as far as trying to focus on when these draft picks would, trying to get the highest quality players that they can for like the same time frame, right? So it looks like they're building towards something great over there. Good luck getting tickets to see them in Tempe because that is going to be difficult. Or wherever is it Scottsdale or Tempe? I think it's in Tempe, but where the ASU plays. But of course, Jesse, this made me think of the Arizona Diamondbacks and our drafts in the past. Some of the good picks, some of the bad picks, some picks that just completely people forget, like the Diamondbacks' first pick in 1996, Nick Bierbrot. I think that's how you say it. First ever draft pick. Pick number 30 in that draft.
Wait, say his name one more time. Did you just say?
I want to say it's. I you know what? I'm still stuck in July 4th mode because
beer brought.
It looks like it's beer brought. I don't know. It's BIERBRODT. So I don't know. That feels like beer broad. I don't know. But first ever draft pick 1996. Played a whole 38 career games. But of course, we know the Diamondbacks' best draft pick of all time, none other than Paul Goldschmidt. There's no way that you can ever convince me. And I don't know if the Arizona Diamondbacks will ever surpass the value that they got for that draft pick for Paul Goldschmidt, considering the player that he became.
Yeah. And I also did just look up this player that you're mentioning, and sure enough, on Baseball Reference, it has Beer Brought as the way you pronounce his name. So
what a great name! How do we not remember this guy? 38 career games. You ruined us. We could have had jerseys and promotions. Beer Brought. Are you kidding me? Oh man. Sometimes when you have a great name like that, you just need to try harder and be a better player. That's what I'm saying. This chair is going to get it before the end of this episode. Don't you guys worry. But still mad about Mark Melancon, but now I'm even more mad about us having a player named Beer Brought. Oh my God. But yeah, go ahead.
That is an incredible name. Yeah. So, I mean, just the history of the Diamondbacks in the draft, I think over the last few years, it's generally pretty well regarded what they've been able to do. Really under Mike Hazen, I think the Diamondbacks have drafted pretty well, according to at least what most analysts would say right now. Now, granted, we haven't seen many of those guys at the big league level, so you can't really judge that too much at this point. But
feels good. It feels like they made some good picks, though.
I think they have made some good picks. And I mean, looking just kind of at the larger franchise history in the draft, the Diamondbacks have had the first overall pick a couple of times. Justin Upton, of course, they took in first overall in the first round back in 2005.
That was a good little stretch for them, considering what those guys ended up doing for that team. 04, 05, and 06. Steven Drew, Justin Upton, Max Scherzer.
Yeah,
that's a good triple.
Haul.
Yeah, it's too bad. Too bad we couldn't keep those guys together.
Yeah, and it's funny that a lot of people say, Justin Upton, he was the first overall pick, and a lot of people thought he was going to be a superstar. Which of course I don't think he ever quite reached that level. His best seasons were honestly probably with the Diamondbacks when he was really young. His best season might have been 2011 when he was 23 years old. He had 31 home runs that year, but he did have some good seasons after that as well. 2017 was a pretty big a bounce back year. He hit 35 home runs for the Tigers and the Angels in 2017. But it's still a pretty incredible career that Justin Upton has had. All in all, a lot of people, might think of it as a disappointment, but when a guy, I mean, he's literally on his 16th season in the majors. When you take a guy first overall who spends 16 years in the majors, that's probably a pretty good pick. And then, of course, the more recent first overall pick that they had was Dansby Swanson. And the bitter topic, I don't want to talk too much about that, but all right, there we go. Derek got his opportunity.
I knew you were going to say something that upset me, Jesse. I knew it. Oh,
I always do. Yeah. And Dansby Swanson has had a pretty good year for the Braves this year too. Probably his best offensively. So, I mean, those are just their first overall picks. They've had some other high draft picks as well. But it is funny. I mean, Goldie was taken in the 8th round. So you never really know what you're going to get with the MLB draft.
See, Chris is just throwing gasoline on this fire. I'm glad I got rid of that bat, but yeah, the draft not nearly as productive as the Coyotes were, but we'll see if that plays out well for them. Hopefully they will. All right, we're all in this together, all AZ, and we want to see the Coyotes succeed. Especially, I'd love to see them succeed in that tiny ass arena. Let me tell you, Jesse, it's something I really want to see. I really want them to shut up a lot of people, but I don't think it's going to be happening yet. So, of course, you can go on the DraftKings Sportsbook app next year, and I still think that betting against the Coyotes is a solid pick when the NHL season comes back around. I am actually going to take, speaking of draft picks or DraftKings picks, I'm going to take the Arizona Diamondbacks today as my pick of the week, Jesse, with Zach Gallen on the mound, bouncing back from a Melancon loss. Again, they're 3-3. I think they're due. I think they're going to be 4-3 after a Melancon loss. And I think Zach Gallen is going to give up very few runs. So I'm thinking I'm taking under half a run in the first inning, and that's something you can parlay together on the DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings Sportsbook, you can do whatever you want. You can go in there, pick World Series winners. You can go in there right now and just for a dime, put like 20 legs from today's baseball games all on one parlay. Whatever you want to do, DraftKings Sportsbook it's an open book for you to determine the future of your betting. But of course, get down on the DraftKings Sportsbook if you're a new customer. More importantly, right now, if you use our code of PHNX, you make your first deposit and you will get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code PHNX only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details, and don't do what I did on one of those promotions where I did not pay attention to the risk-free bet, and I made my first risk-free bet for $10 whole. So don't do that. If you're going to swing big when it's up to $1,000.
I mean, if it's risk-free, then what do you got to lose? Literally nothing, right?
What's that? Well, it's up for, yeah, but if it's up to $1,000, Jesse, you want to make that risk-free bet a little bit more significant, right? You're not going to get a whole lot of risk-free bets in life. That doesn't come around often. I've often wondered how long we're going to get this a wonderful cornucopia of specials that the DraftKings Sportsbook offers us, because there is always a $10 single game parlay, risk-free bet available, it seems like, on the app. So I'm always throwing $10 on some of these crazy parlays. I have not hit on many of them. I should be wearing a jacket and a scarf and a beanie with how ice cold I am on some of those 10-leg parlays, but one of them's going to hit, Jesse. And when it does, oh boy, you bet you're not going to hear the end of it from me. But yeah, it's a fun time. Yes, Josh. Yes, I do remember that time that I nailed a bet but forgot to confirm it. I do remember waking up in the middle of the night and seeing it still on my app. I do remember that. Thank you for reminding me, though. Jesse, what are we going to get? We got 3 more. PHNX is absolutely risk-free. Chris, you're absolutely right. What are we going to get out of the Diamondbacks going forward here in this series? Are you behind me on my bet? You think we'll see a bounce back today with Zach Gallen on the mound? More importantly, does Zach Gallen win his 5th start, for the love of God?
Probably not, just given the history. If the baseball gods get what they want, which which they usually do when it comes to Zach Gallen. The Diamondbacks may well win, but will he get the win?
It'll be a no decision for sure.
That's it. Probably going to be a no decision. No, wait. So your bet, you're saying first inning,
No runs. I'm
below
doing the
0,
under.
no
So no
runs
runs being scored at all. It's a half
for
a
either
run.
team.
So it's either you bet the over, you bet the under, and it's for both teams, right? So I'm
Okay.
thinking, I feel like we're not going to see any first inning offense. So of course I'm going to be completely wrong about that, but we'll see. I don't know. That's what I'm feeling today.
That's pretty funny. I'm pretty sure, or maybe you stole this. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that our friend Jake, our friend Talkin' Jake, when he made his DraftKings sportsbook bets for today, I think he does like a bets thing every day. I'm pretty sure that literally was one of them. I think he took the under on runs for the first inning
it's
in
a
the
good bet.
Diamondbacks Rockies game.
It's a good bet. You can do it live during the game too. So like when you see both pitchers kind of locked in, you can go in and do a live bet that the next inning won't have any runs scored. And sometimes the value on it is pretty good.
Well, it makes a lot of sense in this one, especially for Zach Gallen, because Zach Gallen, when he does give up runs, it doesn't tend to happen in the first inning.
Later
He's
in the
very,
game.
very
Absolutely.
effective.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was my thought on that pick for sure. But
I think that's a pretty good pick.
I'd really like to see them bounce back in this series and win the next 3. I know that might be asking a tall order, but they have 4 here against the Rockies. And I felt like yesterday's game was so close. It was, again, another game that just slipped through their fingers, despite the fact that they had kind of a nice little comeback there and were able to tie it up late and make it exciting, But again, I'm not relenting from my idea that the Diamondbacks are a blast to watch. And even in losses, I've still been having a lot of fun watching this team, which I will reiterate, I did not say one time last season. Maybe for like 2 games. Maybe like there was a
you said it in April
in there or two
Yeah.
in there last season. That might have been a little exciting, but it was hard to be excited about this team last year.
Yeah, so looking at this series, just the pitching matchup. So it's Chad Kuhl and Zach Gallen today, which is a very good pitching matchup. I think Zach Gallen might come out a little angry in this one, Derek. We'll have to see what happens. But after the comments that he made, following the last game that he pitched in, the Diamondbacks lost that one, a game that they had been, I think that was the game they were up 5-0 and they lost 6-5.
Yeah.
And Gallen, came out after that game and said, these are the kinds of games that, if we want to get where we want to get to, we have to win them 100 times out of 100. And I think he was talking, more to himself than anyone else when he said that. But he might come out with some fire in this one, playing against the exact same team.
Some of the predictions for this game are hilarious to me. Gabe says Zach will go 7 innings, 1 run, no decision. D-back score in the 6th, scores 6th in the 8th. Melancon wins. Sure, why not? I don't care. Let's just get some wins. The W there at the end is important. The Clutch Canuck says, I feel like they have a chance even when they're down in the 9th most of the time. Rare for last season. I mean, non-existent for last season, to be honest. I never... Like, they would be up by 1 in the 9th, and I would not feel confident about what was going on last season. And that's not even hyperbole, Jesse. That is, like, legit. I had to write game recaps about this team. I'm not, like, blaming them by any stretch of the imagination, but, like, it was very hard to write game recaps about this team last year because sometimes when you're writing a game recap, you're telling the story of what's going on in the game, but the narrative kind of spells itself out for a win until they lose late. And there were so many articles last season that I had to go back and change after I'd already wrote 75% of it, because even when they won, you couldn't feel confident that they were actually going to win. I need a whole lot of OGs that I didn't have access to last year just to get over some of the rewrites that I had to do. But of course, that's my way of segueing into our sponsor and friends at OGs. My best friends, by the way, we're really close friends, close personal friends. And you can find OG's wonderful brand of gummies, edibles near you in a dispensary near you. They have a wonderful variety of flavors. I've been talking about it a whole bunch, but that is what they focus on, the flavor of their edibles, which some edibles can be inedible with the lack of flavor or just a strong cannabis flavor. One thing OG's prides themselves on is masking that with a delicious gummy flavor, and you can find a variety of flavors, including their new pina colada, pineapple, and creamy coconut blend. They also have a bunch of, I really like their cream blends. I'm a big orange creamsicle guy. They have an orange creamsicle. They also have a blackberries and cream, as well as a whole variety of flavors, a variety of doses that you can get from 3 milligrams on up, 10 milligrams and beyond. If you're a medical patient, you can also get yourself a variety of strains, sativas, indicas, whatever you're in the mood for. I suggest often pairing a sativa with watching cartoons on mute and listening to rap music. But you know what? You can do whatever you want to do. Just like the DraftKings Sportsbook, it's an open book for you to do what you want to with. Just use responsibly. Of course, must be 21 years or older to purchase, and you can find them at your local dispensary. You can check out OGs online if you cannot find them at your local dispensaries, and you'll find it near you at ogsbrands.com. That's OGEEZbrands.com, or on Instagram at ogsbrands. And also, again, shout out to our friends at Four Peaks. I talked about drinking their beer and how much I love to do that. But we were very thankful to have our draft party for the Phoenix, or I was about to say Phoenix Coyotes, Jesse, and I should probably be banned from this network for almost saying that. That makes me feel old and wrong and stupid. But for our Arizona Coyotes yesterday out at Four Peaks, it was an absolute blast. They killed the coverage. I don't think you could have found better Coyotes coverage anywhere else. And again, big shout out.
They did a live show for 4 hours.
4 hours. 4 hours. Do we have to compete with that now? Is that what we have to do? We have to.
I sure hope we don't have to go live for 4 hours.
4 hours long, Jesse. Because tell me. Oh, is there a jar now? Jesse, did you bring a swear jar? Is someone bringing a swear jar? That was my idea. So if someone stole my swear jar idea, I would don't even get me started.
I think he might. Hey, it might be a jar for the fact that you said Phoenix instead of Arizona Coyotes. I think that might be the jar we're talking about. But
oh, damn it.
But a swear jar is also
a 5 in there just for my egregious mistake that I made. I didn't say the name though. I don't know if I should have to do that. I don't know if I have to do that, but
but you did, because you said you said out loud. I was about to say Phoenix Coyotes. So you didn't have to, but you kind of just walked into it.
All right. Well, as long as it goes. Hey, see, it's PHNX Coyotes, though. I'm sticking with it. I was talking about the brand. I'm not putting any money in anything. But yes, of course, again, we thank our friends out at Four Peaks. Yeah, we will just go out and hang out at Four Peaks. Like Josh said, pretend we're covering the entire MLB draft. We'll tell the people at Four Peaks that, so they give us a discount or something. But they are wonderful hosts. And Chris brought up the wonderful food that they had last night. Barbecue chicken pizza is incredible, by the way. I really enjoy that over at Four Peaks. But more than that, I enjoy their variety of beers that you can get not only at Four Peaks Brewing Company. I swear to God, I will be able to talk at some point on this show. But not only do they have it out at their 8th Street pub in Tempe, you can also get it at your convenience store, your supermarket, your gas station, liquor store, anywhere you get your beers near you. Make sure to check them out and try a delicious variety of Four Peaks. Again, like I've talked about, even with the peach beer that I never thought I'd like. I love it. I love it all. Clutch Connect talked about us going live for the MLB draft. We will be going live for the MLB draft, so make sure to stay tuned for that. We have a lot of preparation to do for that, and we are very excited about the impact that these guys can make on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Like Jesse said, Mike Hazen has an amazing track record for selecting draft picks, and I'm excited to see what he does. Very good selections up there at the top, so I think it's going to be hard to miss with the available players that the Diamondbacks have to choose from.
Chris says Suns didn't even have a pick and had 4 hours of coverage. I expect you to bring it.
God damn, that's
there's a lot of there's a lot of
pressure
pressure on us now, Derek. We have to do this, but our plan. I'll unveil a little bit of our plan. We're not going to go live for all 20 rounds of the MLB draft over multiple days, because I don't think there's a.
Just say it.
Yeah, yes, it is completely my fault. Derek would be super on board, but I just don't want to do it. So we're not going to do that. But we do plan to go live.
Supplement, and I'd fucking make that whole bitch. The whole thing. And now I have to put a $5 in the swear jar. Damn it.
Yeah, you're creative. Now you just have to put another one. The swear jar. We're gonna have to make that happen. We can't. It doesn't really work when we're remote, but we're definitely gonna pull out the swear jar for get some donations going. But anyway, yes, our plan is to go live on Sunday the 17th, which is the day that they have the first and second rounds of the MLB draft. The Diamondbacks will have 3 picks among those 2 rounds. So they have 3 of the first 43 picks in the draft. So we'll be there.
Pick, I think.
Yeah, they have a
Fourth
competitive balance pick,
something like that, and then the second overall pick.
Yeah, right. The second overall pick, of course, is going to be the big one. So definitely join us for that. And if you're feeling courageous, stick around, and we'll have the next couple picks live as well. So we hope you guys can join us then.
And I will make a tiny castle out of beer cans. I can assure you that. That's what's going to happen on that show. But of course, we thank all of our sponsors, especially Four Peaks, again, for hosting us yesterday at the Coyotes draft. It was a great time. And if you missed it, make sure to check that out on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. You can see all 4 hours of it. So that if you didn't get a chance to watch it live, it's still there for you. Again, we thank you guys so much for joining us. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Cap_caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. Our show is at PHNX_DBacks. But of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you again for joining us for lunch. On behalf of Jesse and myself, we appreciate you guys being here and being in the comments. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you don't bring Mark Melancon in non-save situations.